This is the 2025 GMC Hummer EV SUV 3X. Is it worth every penny? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. Today I borrowed this interstellar white with lunar shadow interior Hummer from my friends at Morgan Buick GMC. As always, if you want to know more about this particular model, check out the link in the description of the video. Let's dive in and see what we have. Full LED lighting here on the front end, and something that is a different look compared to what we saw in any other current GMC vehicle. Instead of having the GMC logo here on the front end, you have the name Hummer spelled out with the LED lighting right there. LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, plenty of lighting all over this vehicle. The large recovery hooks found here on the front, in fact, they're really hard to move. I almost have to put my whole body weight into that to move that. So those aren't going anywhere. Hopefully you don't need those, but if you do, they are there. I'll probably just set this video up for a lot of interesting comments. Now let me see if I can give you a good look at the underbody protection. It's metal. It's going to help keep everything safe underneath there. I don't know how easily you can see that. I don't have any kind of a creeper or anything to roll underneath if I wanted to, but you definitely won't have any trouble seeing with all the lighting here. It's going to be E all-wheel drive. Let's talk about the tire and wheel size real quick. We're going to have 305 on the width, so wide I can't even get my hand all the way across. 305 50 series sidewall wrapped around those large 22-inch wheels, and there is a full-size spare. You'll see that shortly. When it comes to your side view mirrors, the one thing that is a surprise to me here is what you don't see, which is the presence of a turn signal indicator being built in. Not quite sure why that isn't there, but you have everything else. You have blind spot monitoring right here. They're power adjustable. They're power folding as well. In fact, let me do this. Let me turn that sound off right there so that's not bugging anybody. And you can set the mirrors to fold automatically when you lock the vehicle. You can also push this button right here that also allows them to fold if you want to do it that way. So depending on what your situation is and what your desires are, well, there you go. You can take care of that very easily. You're gonna have the frameless windows. Pretty easy to figure out what's going on there. And then we're gonna have passive entry on the front doors, or the door handles, and on the rear door handles. It seems that if you have it in one place, well, you should probably have it in both. Speaking of the doors, let's take a quick look at the remote. I would like to see GMC give the Hummer its own unique remote, or key fob, as some people might call it. It does have Hummer EV on the back of it, but that's really the only thing that separates it apart. That's my GMC 2500 sitting over there. And other than not having Hummer EV on the back of the remote, it looks identical. We're gonna have our HEV or Hummer EV logo right here. And you have the assist steps right here. They're just affixed in place. And the good thing about these steps is that it has this gritty material on it that will make it a lot easier to have that sure-footed kind of confidence that when your shoes are wet, the bottom of your shoes are wet, you won't be slipping and falling. So I do like the fact that in addition to our white exterior color here, we have the black contrast with the roof and obviously with the lower portion of the body as well. That works nicely. I like the way that works together. And there is that full-size spare that I was telling you about. Easy to gain access to, that's always a good thing. And we'll hit the button here on the remote to open the e-trunk, and you can see that as we do that, you'll see the lights flashing there, the turn signal indicators. You'll also hear a beep, but I don't know that my microphone picked that up. So you're gonna have 11.3 cubic feet of cargo space. In this case, I can't show you everything that's here, but there is quite a bit of space here. Kind of nice to see something in here. And yes, you can strap things down. As you can see, that isn't strapped down as tightly as it seems like it should be, but it is there either way. So nice to see something a little bit different where that's concerned, and we'll close that back down. The big question to be answered here has to do with the numbers. horsepower and torque are actually very impressive. 830 horsepower, 11,500 pounds-feet of torque, and you can drive about 314 miles on one charge. Now here are some interesting numbers depending on how you want to charge and what kind of time you have. If you go with a level 1 charger, you're looking at about 2 to 4 miles of range charged per hour. I think I'd stay away from the level 1 charger. A level 2 charger brings an improvement of 8 to 10 hours to reach full charge capacity. On a DC fast charger, when you're out on the road, maybe on vacation, whatever you're doing, when you need to charge as quickly as possible, that DC fast charger will give you 60 to 100 miles in about 12 minutes. If you're interested in towing with your Hummer EV SUV, it can tow up to 7,500 pounds. And we'll push the button right here. A couple of different options for opening the power tailgate. As you can see, that's going to open. It is very easy to deal with that way because having that big heavy tire on there is going to make a difference. Here's our Hummer EV logo. You can see that on the inside of the door. And maximized cargo capacity comes in at 81.8 cubic feet. Now, one thing that is a little bit of a surprise to me, I'm going to lower these rear seats down. That's how everything looks with maximized cargo capacity. But you'll notice that you can only push down. You'll see that arrow is only in the down position. You don't have an up arrow. I'm surprised those aren't power seats, although maybe that does help out to conserve the charge capacity. Could be why it's that way. But that's the way it is. A little more space right here. And from this vantage point, you can see what are called the sky panels. Those are removable, all 4 of those. Make sure if you take them out and put them back in, that you put them back in securely. Otherwise, they're going to be rattling when you're driving down the road. And just a quick little trick for you right here. I'm going to push the button right there, and all I'm doing is pushing that button. I don't have to hold it down to open or close this power rear door. And if you're curious, you probably already saw it as I was walking around, but there is your charge port, and depending on what type of charger you're using will determine which area you use right there. Pretty easy to deal with, nice and concealed away. I do like that it's on the driver's side. That just always seems more appropriate. And I don't know how well you can hear that, but the air suspension is raising. This model does ride on air suspension. These Hummers are very comfortable driving down the road for that reason. And we'll take a quick look at the door panel right here. I do like the bronze accent that we have. That sets things off nicely. I think that's better than gloss black because it's not going to fingerprint up. Very comfortable armrests, by the way. That works out very well, and a good size door bin right here. A common question a lot of people have, do the rear seats recline? I don't know how well you can see it, but I did recline the left side over there and left this side in its most upright position. And you can change all of that via the release right here. That's also a way that if you want to, that you can also lower these seats the same way I did with those controls in the rear. Now we'll go ahead and hop on inside and take a look around here. By the way, if you're curious, no, these are not soft closed doors. Rear seat pockets on the back of each seat, and then you're going to have your command center right here. Quite a bit going on with 3 zones of climate control, 2 in the front, 1 here in the rear. You can control temperature and fan speed and all of those great features. A couple of USB options and air conditioning vents built in as well. Show you a little bit of the storage down here. And if you're curious about the sky panels, they are nicely tinted, so that's a good thing. They're not going to let a ridiculous amount of light in. Hopefully it's not too much when it does happen, when the sun's in just the right position, but I think that's going to work just fine. There is a lot of room back here, quite a bit of space for your passengers in the second row. And right here, just to show it, because it's here, you're going to have the fold-down armrest with the cup holders built in. In my personal opinion, I wish that automakers would switch from these parallel cup holders to a vertical style where they're in the center right here, because that way, when somebody has a cup in one or both cup holders, they can still use this area for its intended purpose as an armrest in addition to having those cup holders right there. And we'll take a look into the passenger side area. A little bit more space with the door bin right there, a couple of cup holders, just a lot of space here overall, and then a larger armrest than what we saw with the rear doors. Now, here's what we're gonna have with the seats. They're power adjustable, they're heated, they're ventilated, and right here, you can control the lumbar support. So that means you have lumbar support here on the passenger side. You're also going to have it over there on the driver's side. And you'll see the lunar map. That's actually in several different areas, not only there on the speaker cover, but on the cover in the rear in that cargo area. It was a little hard to see. You can even see a little bit of that here with the mats built in right here. You have your all-weather mats. That's going to be helpful right there. It's also right here in this center area with the pass-through. Nice to see GMC making use of that available space. Not a lot of automakers doing that. We'll also have that bronze finish on some of the trim work right here. I do wish that GMC had done what they do with all of their trucks, the Sierras, 2500s, 1500s, all of that, and used this area as an upper glove box just to increase space a little bit more. But you do have your lower glove box right here. And again, that H logo right here with the air conditioning vents, that looks really nice. If you wanted to come in and buy this 25 GMC Hummer EV SUV 3X, what do you have to pay? $109,540. Let's see what else you get for the price. And here's a look at the seats, the overall design and colors. They are comfortable, and you'll have your Hummer logo right here. And we'll pan over here to the driver's side door panel and take a look at a couple of things. You saw a lot of this earlier in the video, the controls for your side view mirrors, and then folding and unfolding, and then the controls for your power windows. All of them are one touch down, but you'll have to hold the button to get them back up. So just so you can see, I'm a little surprised that's not one touch up. Maybe that has to do with conserving charge capacity. I don't know. But at this price point, it just seems like that should not be the case. Show you some of the controls down here on the lower section of the dash area on the left-hand side. You have the button right here. Let's see if I can find that. There it is. With the button right there, you can control the positioning of the steering wheel. It's tilt and telescopically adjustable, so very easy to deal with. And you also have Super Cruise, which will be activated via this button right here. So you can see right there, it's unavailable, but in case you wanted to know, yes, Super Cruise is here, semi-autonomous driving, very easy to deal with. Really, all you have to do is push that button. And if you need to turn adaptive cruise control on, it's going to give you a message right there on the instrument cluster. And speaking of that, let's do this. I'm going to arrow over right here, and we'll take a look at a couple of things. There's quite a few things that you can do here. We'll go through some of the different features and functionality, but this is what I really wanted to get to. So what I'm going to do is push right here on the dial, or not the dial, but the selector, we'll say, so you can change what it is you have here as far as the overall look. There are some pre-programmed settings here depending on what you want. You can also go in and individually change each area. So I'm going to get out of that just so I can show you right there. You can go in and change the left hand side. I can change whether it's the compass there or whatever I want to see. If I want to see other things, tire pressure, whatever it is I want to know about, well, there you go. If you're interested in pitch and roll, there you go. You can see what's there. How about G-force? Yeah, that might be really interesting to have. I don't know that my camera will pick that up later in the video, but we'll leave that on there. But there is just so much customization here. A lot of great information you can go through depending on what you want to see and know about. So it really simple to deal with overall. You do have your digital speedometer there. It tells you how much driving distance we have left, 265 miles. And whether we're in park or in drive or in reverse, whatever we're in, it's going to tell us down there at the bottom. And you can see that this particular model has 24 miles on it. We'll have our rear view camera mirror. So if you want to use that as a conventional mirror, you just flip that lever forward on the bottom, or you can pull that back and use it as a rear view camera. The mirror actually works very well that way. I think it's better this way than the conventional way once you get used to it, and you can customize it. There's some controls buttons right here to make several changes. And you do have your garage door opener that can be programmed right here with the vehicle, up to 3 doors. That's nice to have And I don't know if the lighting is going to work very well here to show you what's going on with your upper console. Maybe that will work for you for those who want to see. And I'm going to spend a little bit of time here on the touch screen just so you can see a few things that are going on here. First of all, I'm going to go into reverse and show you the different camera views. Now, you don't have to be in reverse to do this. In fact, let me go back to our main view here. We're going to scroll over right here and we'll go to our cameras right there. And now you can see the different views. Now, one thing you might want to know about, how do you change views? Well, first of all, you're going to know you have multiple views. You see how you have the orange dot and the gray dot right there. So that tells you that you have two different views. Now we're looking at the rear view camera. We can also go over here and see the overhead view. We can go to our side view, mirror view. And there are views literally everywhere. So depending on what you want to see, that's how you do it. We'll X out of that. I'm going to go back over here real quick. You can see that you have built-in maps, all that kind of stuff. That's Google Maps. You also have Google Assistant, so you can say, hey, I'm not going to say it because I'll set off devices in your homes. I've done that a few times. We're trying to minimize that. And we'll go to energy right here just to show you what's going on. We'll let that load. There you go. And you can see as far as charging goes, you can charge now or you can charge later. You can schedule. There's a lot of different things going on here. Energy usage, if you want to see that. Got some information right there. You can even go into your settings and see a few different things there as far as notifications go and DC fast charging conditioning. So there's a lot going on here. There are some things to learn, that's for sure, but the hunt and peck method will do you quite well. You can wirelessly pair your smartphone. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are here. You also have the Play Store right there. And then we'll go over here. Quite a few things to talk about. I'm not going to talk about everything, but you do have trailering right here as you would with the GMC Sierras. Basically the same look and feel. Basically works the same way. We'll go into off-road right here just to show you what's here. Let that load. Can't really see a lot going on right now because we're not moving, but there are quite a few different bits of information that can be given right there. Now, the main thing I wanted to go in here and talk about is going to be your settings. First of all, we'll just run through the different options right here. We won't take too much time on that, so you might have to pause if you want to see what all is here. But I wanted to go into vehicle and show you a couple of important points. One pedal driving, if you're not familiar with what that is, the vehicle will basically stop itself. You can still use the brake pedal as you normally would. The brakes will function as they normally would, but the vehicle is going to slow down a lot faster that way. And you can go to on, you can go to high, you can go to off, whatever you want to do right there. I like to leave that off. Personally, it's just my personal preference. You have teen driver mode. I think you know what's going on there. Rear seat reminder, buckle to drive. If you want to turn that off, there's where you do it. I'm going to leave that on right now. I do encourage people to use their seatbelt when they're driving on the road. But if you're moving around in a parking lot, changing parking spaces, whatever you're doing where you don't really need your seatbelt on, it's nice to have that turned off where you don't have to worry about it. Super Cruise lane change alert, or excuse me, lane change, you can turn that on, off, automatic, whatever you want to do with that. In fact, we'll just run in there right there. Turn signal activated. For a lot of people, that's not going to work because they don't use their turn signals, so you better just use automatic. Kudos to those of you who do use your blinkers, by the way. Yes, that is a great pet peeve of mine. Now, safety features. I know a lot of you like to know about that. So what do we have here? Automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian braking, adaptive cruise go notifier. You can turn that on and off. Lane change alert. You can turn that on and off. Park assist with braking, park assist tow bar, rear cross traffic alert, and rear pedestrian alert. There's a lot here. I could do a video purely on the technology of this Hummer EV because there's so much here, but we're not going to burn too much time on that. But here are some interesting things with the air conditioning system. I don't think I've seen another vehicle where when you change the fan speed that the fan right there actually rotates on the screen. And you have the heated and ventilated seats for the driver and for the passenger over here, but you might wonder, if you start doing this, nothing is going to happen. Everything is controlled via the controls right here. And so if I want to do that, then all I have to do is go right here, and I can turn on the ventilated seats. whatever setting I want to. The same with the heated seats. You can see how that works. But you're actually going to have to push down to get that functionality where you can do something with it. Everything else there pretty easy to deal with, pretty self-explanatory, I would say. Some air conditioning vents here, your wireless charging pad, and a couple of USB options. And here is your shifter. Pretty simple to deal with, pretty simple to use. It's not a push button shifter for those who don't like that, so that's nice. You're just going to push the button. I guess in ways it has push button functionality, but you'll push the button on the side to go into either neutral, reverse, or drive and low. If you're going to do that, go back into park by pushing that button. There is some push button functionality there if you need to do stuff like that, but overall it's a conventional style shifter. And here is your drive mode selector. Let's go through those driving modes and see the cool graphics that come up on the screen when you change driving modes. You'll see that the entirety of the screen is even taken up. Tow haul mode is there. We have terrain mode. We'll go to off-road mode. And my mode. You can customize a lot of different things there where the vehicle is concerned, and normal mode. Now this model does have crab walk, so if you're curious about that, how do you activate crab walk? You just hold it like this. We're going to hold it to the left. We're going to hold this area, and here's what's going to happen. We're going to let that come up. And it lets you know when crab walk is enabled. Yeah. But if you're curious to know about that, there it is. Something really simple right here. We're going to have our cup holders that can be concealed away if you so desire. And the nice large lid for the center console. Plenty of room there to use that as an armrest. Space right here. And tons of space within. Now this is not all we have. This tray is removable, and that reveals a lot of space. A little more connectivity right there as well. In fact, let me put this tray back in, and we'll show you that is a 12-volt power outlet as far as that goes. A pretty simple vehicle to learn and use, in my opinion. There is a lot going on, and before my battery overheated and the camera died, I was saying that everything here is easy to learn and use. It looks like a lot, but don't let that scare you off. I like how GM's technology is so simplistic. One more thing I wanted to show you before we got out on the road for the test drive. Instead of just telling you about it, you have 3 windshield wipers, and show you those in action right there. So kind of an interesting thing, but with a windshield that is so wide, that seems like a good thing. Okay, let's get out on the road for a quick test drive here with this Hummer EV. A very comfortable vehicle to drive, enjoyable to drive. The seats seem to be nice and comfortable to me. I haven't had a long road trip or anything like that, so hard to say what it would be long term as far as all of that goes, but overall a very enjoyable vehicle to drive. And as big as it is, it really doesn't seem that way to me. Now that could be due to the fact that I'm used to driving a pretty large vehicle for myself every day. My daily driver is a GMC 2500, so it's not small by any means in and of itself. But one way or another, I really like what we have here. Easy to see out of. Those nice large windows, that makes a big difference. You have your rear view camera mirror if you need it, and you also have your blind spot monitoring built into your side view mirrors. And so those are some very helpful things as far as this Hummer EV goes. Now, I'm going to wait until we get down here just a little bit, and we'll go around this van. The thing that amazes me when you step on the quiet pedal, it's not the loud pedal, it's the quiet pedal, is that this Hummer does everything within its power to try and pick the front end up. You can really feel the front end coming up. It's obviously not going to do that for a couple of different reasons, but it's just amazing to me how it does that. It's a big surprise when you step on the pedal. It definitely gets down the road with no problem. It's fun to drive. It's hard to believe you could have so much fun with such a large vehicle, but being a large vehicle, you're going to have a lot of great features and, well, we'll say great space within the interior for the driver and the passengers. Now, one reason why you have crab walk is because of the size of the vehicle here. That helps in situations like this where you need to make a legal U-turn to be able to do so. And you can see I had absolutely no problem making that turn right there. Everything's easy to get to for the driver. That's something else that I really like here, is the fact that you don't have a long way to reach or anything like that. Everything seems to be very much driver focused in the respect of where it's located. So that's good. And I have an opportunity right now to tell you about something that may be a common question that comes up. What is it like when you're dealing with the sun? I have sun shining right through here. You can't really see it, but nice clear day, no clouds in the sky, so I'm getting direct sunlight in through the sky panel here on the driver's seat, and it really doesn't seem to be a problem. So they are very well tinted. That helps out a lot. But as I mentioned, I want you to listen. You don't really hear any squeaks and rattles and things like that. That means that these sky panels were put in correctly. I've driven a couple of other Hummers where that was not the case. If those sky panels are not properly installed, they can tend to be a little bit on the noisy side. So just something to keep in mind. But I tell you what, if you're looking for a big out of the ordinary EV, this is definitely the one. And I didn't demonstrate Super Cruise. We just don't have the place to do it here. You really need to be on an interstate highway to do that, with solid lines on one side and good lines here in the middle as well, or on one side at least, and it will do just fine. So there's some areas where it will get down the road with Super Cruise, but I've also had it turn on and off occasionally. It just depends. So it's better to be on a road where you have some consistency with the markings. It's probably a good way to put that. But as I mentioned earlier in the video, in case somebody skipped to this point, I'll just say it one more time. All you do is push the button down here on the left side, that little steering wheel down there, to activate Super Cruise. And if everything is right and everything's turned on as it should be and ready to go, it just automatically comes on. Pretty easy to deal with. Okay, tell me what you think. Is this 2025 GMC Hummer EV worth every penny? And it depends a lot on who you are, on what your answer is. If you're that person who swears by EVs, or you're the person who swears about EVs, will determine your answer, right? It's okay to laugh if you made it to this point of the video. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends here at Morgan Buick GMC for loaning me this Hummer for the day, and a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Make sure to share this video so others can see it. Make sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss any future videos. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you might wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I'll see you there.